because this is crucial, and you need to understand how the occult and occult knowledge and dark neuroscience mixes in with this. So this is well known. This is a declassified FBI paper. And the symbol. And now we have a summary of what's known as spin programming. Again, I was talking about dissociative trauma therapists such as Valerie Wolf, who had the information, and all the others, where these people are going. This information is compiled with people like me and others, and we put this information together and disseminate it to help heal more. The summary of this paper is described spin programming, a type of abuse that until recently was unknown to psychotherapists, but has obviously been in use by ritual abusers. Yes, ritual abuse. Yes, related to what might be called satanic ritual abuse, but some people might just call it a beating if you're in a street gang. There's many versions of ways to say this, and many versions of ways to say this makes other people say, no, it's like this, it's not that, it's this, and argue. Same with other things such as religion, but I digress. It has been used by ritual abusers for many years, at least 4 decades. That's 40 years, because it's the earliest cases they have documented about it. And this is blindly corroborated where many different people say the same information. And probably much longer. It's possible that most or perhaps all patients with histories of ritual abuse have been subjected to spin programming. And why is this child abuse epidemic going on? Why are these pedophiles enabled? And they know things, because what they want to be able to do is to abuse and to continue to abuse. Just like anybody that wants anything, they want to be able to do something in their life and do it more. This is how people work. This is how the brain, the body, this is how behavioral psychology understands people. People who are born into cults that practice ritual abuse, because this is generational, as much child abuse and sexual abuse is, and I guess you can look, this is all, everything that I'm saying is easily verifiable. Patients who are born into cults that practice ritual abuse, as opposed to have been recruited later in life, are probably more likely to have experienced spin programming. Yes, because that's only if you were a child. It's being used on you as a child. And their spin program is likely to be more intensive and more sophisticated. Spin programming presents some formidable obstacles for psychotherapy. It is important that, in the past, lack of awareness and understanding of spin programming by the therapeutic community has contributed to many problems in therapy. Spin programming, this is what we're talking about. Why is this the symbol for boy lover? Why is there different swirls for pedophilia? Because when you spin someone fast enough, it affects the periphery. In the Air Force, I believe there's a Barani chair, where it spins around and you have them do different tasks during the spinning, after, and eventually it affects the mind, allows you to be tapped through the periphery. And this essentially bypasses your conscious and allows the subconscious to be programmed. And these pedophile abusers are aware of this. This is information that is passed in these circles. And spinning someone continuously, and especially at a high rate, eventually causes a great deal of distress and can assist in brainwashing techniques. All patients reported having filled or decorated many pages over periods of years from early childhood. Again, only those whose training commenced in childhood, because this is something that takes place to children, because in an adult it would not have the same effect due to dissociation. Through adulthood, they're filled pages over periods of years from early childhood through adulthood with doodles that are strikingly similar across individuals. So all these subjects seem to doodle the same thing. They describe themselves as having produced doodles in an almost obsessive manner. Every time they doodle, some people make smiley faces, some people make hearts. These people just tend to draw little swirls, little tornadoes, little circles, little spirals. Many of them depict spinning, such as drawings of spinning tornadoes. Others suggest spinning, such as spirals, etc., etc. But they depict movement or transmission outward from the center. Other duels depict movement or transmission in one link to another without spinning, as in the interconnected boxes or interconnected loops. The dueling appears to be intended to reinforce by repetition and visualization the lessons learned through cognitive and imagery training. Doodles may be produced by alters as trained as spinners, and they may be produced by others to be seen by spinners as a reminder that the spinner to maintain their skills and alertness. Now, I understand that might be a little confusing, but we were talking about when you make a programmed person And they have, woo! One second. One second. I'm back. Apologies. Once you have a programmed person and you have different compartments, some of these different compartments become dissociative identities or personas, and they have a job. And this gets complicated because, unfortunately, programming the human mind is complicated, so we don't need to go into that. But what you need to understand is that the reason that this spiral is depicted and used as a symbol in pedophilia is because it symbolizes imagery that is used to reinforce brainwashing and used to instill brainwashing programming to make children sex slaves and so much more. So again, these pedophiles are doing this to children because they pass them around in rings and they are enabled. I was in anti-human trafficking. And yes, we were allowed to stop some of the competition that couldn't be absorbed. And some other organizations, for example, that recently had movies or were depicted in movies, act as a public relations arm, busting and exposing opposition that can't be absorbed into the organized program and presenting it to the public as an offering, a sacrifice. Yes, we are taking down the bad guys. Yes, don't worry about over here. Worry about here. Yes, we're taking care of the children. Yes, they go to a good place, funneled into the program, into these unorganized programs. Yes, and as Claudia Mullen, the second survivor testimony you saw earlier mentioned, they took the suffering of a 7-year-old and makes it infinitely worse. That's what's going on. I hope that provides some understanding.